You have gained weight without changing anything you eat. You are exhausted by noon, even after 8 hours of sleep. Your mood has dropped in a way that antidepressants have not fixed. Your hair is coming out in the shower. Your skin is dry no matter how much water you drink. And every doctor you have seen has run blood tests, looked at the results, and told you everything is normal. Everything is not normal. In millions of people over 40, every single one of those symptoms is being produced by one small gland at the base of your throat, a gland the size of a butterfly that your doctor's standard test is systematically failing to catch. You have not been imagining it. You have not been lazy. You have not been depressed for no reason. Your thyroid controls the metabolic rate of every single cell in your body. When it slows down, even slightly, everything slows with it. Your weight, your energy, your mood, your hair, your skin, your digestion, your heart rate, your body temperature. All of it, simultaneously. I'm Dr. Arthur Sterling. Subscribe right now and hit like, because what I'm about to tell you, your doctor will not cover in a standard appointment. To understand why your thyroid is being missed, you need to understand what it actually does and how the system that is supposed to catch thyroid problems actually works. The thyroid gland sits at the base of your throat, just below your Adam's apple. It produces two hormones, T3 and T4. T4 is the storage form, produced in large quantities and circulating in the blood. T3 is the active form, the one that actually enters cells and drives metabolism. Your body converts T4 into T3 in the peripheral tissues, the liver, the kidneys, the muscles. Think of T4 as a key blank and T3 as the cut key that actually opens the lock. Having plenty of T4 in your blood means nothing if the conversion to T3 is impaired. And conversion impairment is one of the most common and most consistently missed thyroid problems in adults over 50. The thyroid is controlled by the pituitary gland in the brain, which produces TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. When thyroid hormone levels fall, the pituitary produces more TSH to push the thyroid to make more. When levels rise, TSH falls. The standard thyroid test measures only TSH, not T3, not T4, not the conversion rate, just TSH. And here is the problem. The normal range for TSH used by most laboratories was established in the 1970s, using a population that included a significant number of people with undiagnosed thyroid disease. The range is too wide. A TSH of 3.5 is technically normal by standard laboratory reference ranges. In clinical practice, many people with a TSH between 2.5 and 4.5 have every symptom of hypothyroidism and feel dramatically better when treated. This is not fringe medicine. This is a documented, published, ongoing controversy in endocrinology that your doctor almost certainly has not had time to discuss with you in a 7-minute appointment. Here are the 7 signs that your thyroid is underperforming. Go through this list honestly. Sign 1. Weight gain that does not respond to diet or exercise. The thyroid sets the basal metabolic rate, the number of calories your body burns at rest just to keep itself alive. When thyroid function drops, that rate drops with it. When thyroid function drops by even 20%, your resting metabolism drops with it. The exact same diet that maintained your weight at 40 will cause you to gain weight at 52. Patients describe eating less than ever and gaining weight anyway. Calorie restriction without thyroid treatment produces fatigue, not weight loss, because the body responds to restriction by slowing metabolism further. Sign 2. Fatigue that sleep does not fix. Every cell in your body requires thyroid hormone to produce energy through the mitochondria, the cellular power plants. When T3 is insufficient, mitochondrial function slows and ATP production decreases. You wake up after 8 hours feeling as though you barely rested. This fatigue has a specific quality. It is heavy, physical, and present from the moment you open your eyes. It is distinct from the fatigue of poor sleep or stress. Sign 3. Depression and cognitive slowing that antidepressants have not resolved. Thyroid hormone directly regulates serotonin synthesis and receptor sensitivity in the brain. When thyroid function is low, serotonin activity drops. Patients are prescribed SSRIs, which work by keeping serotonin in the synapse longer. But if the thyroid is not producing enough hormone to drive serotonin synthesis in the first place, SSRIs have nothing to work with. The depression does not lift. Sign 4. Hair loss and changes in hair texture. Hair follicles are among the most metabolically active cells in the body and require continuous thyroid hormone to complete their growth cycle. When thyroid function drops, follicles enter the resting phase prematurely and hair sheds in excess. The outer third of the eyebrow thins or disappears entirely. Clinicians call this the Queen Anne sign. Sign 5. Cold intolerance and consistently low body temperature. Thyroid hormone drives thermogenesis, the production of body heat. When it is insufficient, core body temperature drops. Basal body temperature, measured first thing in the morning, consistently below 97.8 degrees Fahrenheit, is one of the most reliable clinical indicators of thyroid insufficiency. This is called the Barnes basal temperature test, and it costs nothing, only a thermometer. Sign 6. Constipation and slowed digestion. The entire gastrointestinal tract is regulated in part by thyroid hormone. When thyroid function drops, gut motility slows. Food moves through more slowly. Constipation becomes chronic and resistant to dietary changes because the underlying driver has not been addressed. Patients increase fiber, increase water, try laxatives. Nothing produces lasting improvement. Sign 7. Elevated cholesterol that statins are not fully controlling. The liver uses thyroid hormone to convert cholesterol into bile acids for excretion. When thyroid function is low, this conversion slows, cholesterol accumulates, and LDL rises. Treating cholesterol without treating the thyroid is mopping the floor without turning off the tap. Let me tell you about a patient I will call Susan. 48 years old, marketing director. She came to see me having seen 3 physicians in 2 years. She had gained 22 pounds without changing her diet. She was exhausted by noon every day. She had been diagnosed with depression 18 months earlier and was on her second antidepressant. Neither had made a significant difference. Her hair had thinned noticeably. She was cold all the time, and every blood test had come back normal. She put a folder of results on my desk and said, "I am not making this up. Something is wrong." I believe her before I even opened the folder, because I had heard this exact story hundreds of times. I ordered a full thyroid panel, not just TSH, but free T3, free T4, reverse T3, and thyroid antibodies. Her TSH was 3.2, technically normal by standard reference ranges, but her free T3 was in the bottom 10% of the reference range. Her reverse T3, an inactive form of thyroid hormone that blocks T3 receptors, was elevated, and her thyroid antibodies were significantly raised, indicating Hashimoto's thyroiditis, an autoimmune condition where the immune system attacks the thyroid gland. Her standard TSH test had been normal for 2 years, while her thyroid was being systematically destroyed by her own immune system. 3 physicians had seen a normal TSH, and closed the file. Nobody had ordered free T3, nobody had checked antibodies, nobody had measured reverse T3. Susan had been on antidepressants for 18 months for a condition that was not depression. 6 weeks after starting low-dose T3 supplementation and an autoimmune dietary protocol, she had lost 8 pounds without changing her caloric intake. Her energy had returned. She described it as, "I feel like myself again for the first time in 3 years." Her cholesterol, which had been elevated for 2 years, normalized without statins. Her thyroid had been the answer the entire time. The standard test had been looking in the wrong place. The reason thyroid dysfunction is so consistently missed comes down to 3 separate problems that compound each other. First, the TSH-only test. Most standard panels measure only TSH, but TSH measures pituitary response, not actual thyroid hormone activity at the cellular level. A person can have a normal TSH and still have insufficient T3 reaching their cells, because conversion is impaired, because reverse T3 is blocking receptors, or because their cells have reduced sensitivity to thyroid hormone. The complete thyroid panel that actually answers the clinical question includes TSH, free T3, free T4, reverse T3, and thyroid peroxidase antibodies. This panel costs under $100 at most direct-to-consumer laboratory services. It is almost never ordered on a standard annual physical. You have to ask for it specifically, and you may have to pay out of pocket. Second, the reference range problem. The normal range for TSH used by most laboratories includes a significant number of subclinically hypothyroid individuals. A TSH above 2.0 in a symptomatic patient warrants investigation. Most physicians are trained to treat only when TSH exceeds 4.5 or 5.0. The American Association of Clinical Endocrinologists has recommended narrowing the TSH reference range to 0.3 to 3.0 for years. Most commercial laboratories have not adopted this recommendation. The result is that patients with TSH between 2.5 and 4.5 are told they are normal, while experiencing every symptom of hypothyroidism. Third, the conversion problem. Even patients on thyroid medication, typically T4 only, the standard prescription, may remain symptomatic if their conversion of T4 to T3 is impaired. Chronic stress, inflammation, nutritional deficiencies in selenium and zinc, and certain medications all impair T4 to T3 conversion. Selenium is the critical mineral for T4 to T3 conversion. The enzyme that performs this conversion, deiodinase, requires selenium as a cofactor. Brazil nuts, 2 per day, provide the recommended selenium intake. Zinc deficiency, extremely common in adults over 50, also impairs conversion. A zinc supplement of 15 to 30 milligrams daily addresses this deficiency in most adults. The thyroid is one of the most undertested and most mismanaged systems in all of internal medicine. Not because the science is unclear, the science is clear. Because the standard of care was established decades ago, has not kept pace with the research, and operates within a system that does not have time for nuance. A TSH test costs $15 and takes 30 seconds to review. A full thyroid panel with free T3, reverse T3, and antibodies takes 15 minutes to interpret properly and requires a level of clinical judgment that a 7-minute appointment does not accommodate. The system defaults to the cheaper, faster test, and millions of people are told they are normal while their thyroid is failing, their metabolism is shutting down, and their physicians are prescribing antidepressants for a condition that is not depression. This is not conspiracy. This is the arithmetic of a healthcare system that is structurally incapable of spending the time this problem requires. Here is what to do. Request a full thyroid panel at your next blood draw. TSH, free T3, free T4, reverse T3, and thyroid peroxidase antibodies. If your doctor declines, services like Ultra lab tests and walk-in lab offer this panel directly to consumers without a physician order for under $100. Do the Barnes basal temperature test for 5 consecutive mornings. Temperature consistently below 97.8 Fahrenheit is a clinical signal. Review the 7 signs I described today and count how many apply to you. 3 or more in combination with a TSH above 2.0 warrants a conversation with an endocrinologist, not a general practitioner who has 7 minutes. Hypothyroidism affects an estimated 20 million Americans. Up to 60% are undiagnosed. The rates increase dramatically after 40 and again after 60, particularly in women who develop thyroid dysfunction at 5 to 8 times the rate of men. But men are not immune, and male thyroid dysfunction is even more consistently missed because physicians are less likely to test for it. How old are you? Write it in the comments right now. I want to know who is watching, because the thyroid conversation at 45 is different from the conversation at 65. And what I cover next will be shaped by exactly where you are. Here is your action plan. Count how many of the 7 signs apply to you: weight gain, fatigue, depression, hair loss, cold intolerance, constipation, elevated cholesterol. If 3 or more apply, request a full thyroid panel this week, not at your next annual physical. Do the Barnes basal temperature test 5 mornings in a row. Add 2 Brazil nuts daily for selenium. If you are already on thyroid medication and still symptomatic, ask your doctor specifically about free T3 levels and T4 to T3 conversion. And if your doctor tells you your TSH is normal and sends you home, ask them what your free T3 is. If they have not tested it, you do not yet have your answer. Your thyroid has been running your metabolism since before you were born. It deserves one blood test that actually looks at the right things. I'm Dr. Arthur Sterling. I have spent 15 years watching patients be told they are normal while their thyroid quietly fails them. Subscribe, hit like, and send this to someone who has been told everything is fine while nothing feels fine. The healthcare system profits from managing your symptoms indefinitely. I profit from finding the actual cause.